Greetings, everyone. Migration is a global phenomenon. Some political parties formed, particularly in South Africa, were inspired by Donald Trump in 2016 when he used the question of migration as a key political campaign. He won the presidency then. He is also the favorite to win this year's presidency. But of course, the deputy president of America is leading in the polls, but it's a discussion for another video. You know that Donald Trump wanted to build a wall between the United States and Mexico. South Africa is faced with this challenge. It has deployed what it calls border management officials to manage its borders, particularly between Zimbabwe and South Africa. An article from News 24 reports that the headline says U.S. border migrant crossing fall for fifth month in a row. So there's been a drop, according to this article, in terms of the people that cross what they call unlawful to the United States from particularly Mexico. I will simply read some few para here. It says, I quote, the Biden administration credits recent executive action as the reason behind the drop. The number of unlawful crossings by migrants at the U.S. southern border has dropped for the fifth consecutive month, according to U.S. official data. U.S. Border Patrol agents apprehended around 57,000 migrants along the border in July, the lowest recorded since September 2020. So in July, 57,000 migrants were apprehended. The numbers are down significantly from December, when around 250,000 migrants were caught crossing the border. President Joe Biden's administration has credited the decrease to recent actions by him to tackle illegal immigration into the U.S., an election year political vulnerability for the Democrats. There is a quote here. It says, this is the product of a number of actions this administration has taken, said the Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas in an interview with the CBS News. So there has been a drop in the number of migrants that are crossing to the United States in their southern border. That is the border between the United States and Mexico. It says, I continue, the figures do not include official border crossings, where the Biden administration has been processing around 1,500 migrants each day through a smartphone app that schedules appointments between migrants and U.S. border agents. On the other side of the border, Mexican officials have also been working to curb illegal immigration, including stopping people before they attempt to cross on the U.S. soil. The southern border has been a political headache for the Biden administration heading into November's election. Mr. Biden has been repeatedly criticized by Republicans and their party's presidential nominee, Donald Trump, who said last month that the president had, there is a quote, surrendered our southern border, close quote. So the question of migration is dominating globally. It's becoming a key political election question because of inequality, global inequality. People from poor countries, they move to countries whose economies are far much better. For instance, the economy in Zimbabwe is kind of collapsed. People move to South Africa where there is a strong economy. But of course, there is then competition for jobs, an issue that we have been discussing. Unemployment is rising in South Africa. South African government and South Africans want to protect the jobs. There is a discussion around critical skills, and questions are always raised to say which skill is not readily available in South Africa. We also see in the United States that the numbers have been decreasing in its southern border with Mexico. We see migrants drowning in seas, trying to cross to Europe. So migration is a global phenomenon. And we have always submitted that policing the borders is very important, but it is not the solution. The solution is to end inequality. It is clear that the capitalist mode of production does not favor the majority of the people globally. There must be a change in terms of our economic policies. If the world continues with the capitalist mode of production, you will always have this crisis of migrants moving globally from one country to the other. You will see governments investing so much in monitoring their borders. So you need, as we always argue, that you need to move to the next stage of human development, which is a socialist economy. So unless we end inequality, we will always be grappling with this challenge. So Zimbabwe is to host the SADC summit. We discussed in the previous video, and I said that we need to discuss the industrialization of Southern Africa. You cannot end migration to South Africa if the economies around her neighbors are not well developed. So it's important that BRICS is strengthened, that BRICS becomes the alternative to the dominance of the US, the World Bank, and the IMF, so that you build an economy that is free from imperialist influence. But this requires a change of our politics, because we have liberals that are coming into power in a number of African countries, and the economies are largely built under the influence of imperialist forces. Please share your views right in the comment section, like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, have a great day. Goodbye.